ask, one of you is going to know exactly who I'm talking about. Now let's all just take a moment to appreciate the idea that a children's series that was denied publication from no less than a dozen different agencies has managed to inspire the fan base necessary for 8 fantastic Potter films, 1 magnificent fan-written play and its sequel, and a truly incredible theme park. No ordinary book could do that. It takes a truly exceptional story. Now, I started reading the Harry Potter series when I was really young. We're talking maybe 1st grade. Before Harry, I hated reading. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. My reading level was really embarrassing, and I'd rather go home and watch the news. I hated the news. That all changed when my dad brought home Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Now, I don't mean to sound like a Hallmark greeting card, but it really was love at true sight. It was like nothing that I'd ever experienced before. Here was this little boy who didn't appear like much, just some messy-haired kid with glasses, but he did what we all wish to think that we would do if we were in his situation. Now, despite everything in his path, cruel guardians, misunderstanding teachers, a Dark Lord hell-bent on killing him and enslaving the entire wizarding world, Harry would stop at nothing to save the people that he cared about, even if it hurt him. That's one of the things that I think makes J.K. Rowling such a genius writer. She didn't give us a super-powered boy hero that no one my age could empathize with. She gave us a real human being who we could all love and worry about. Now, I was fortunate to begin my Harry Potter experience at what I would like to consider the magic age. When I was 11, Harry was 11. When I was 12, he was 12. While I grew up, so did he. It's odd to think that someone coming from a magical school with a wizarding background could have a life like mine, but Harry's did. Whenever he'd get one over on that obnoxious ferret, Draco Malfoy, I had hoped that that mean little girl on the playground would finally end up underneath the hippogriff's claw. Whenever a teacher would give me a completely wrong grade on a homework assignment, I'd call them Professor Snape for the rest of the year. Whenever I felt different from all the other girls who were always in love with some boy or another, I just remind myself that Hermione Granger liked reading more than dating too. It was little stuff like that let kids be like the characters in the Harry Potter books. Now, being a kid while a war is happening is really strange. You don't always know what's going on or why. At that age, you can't really understand the idea that with the push of a button from someone halfway across the world, your entire city could explode. When I grew up in 21st century middle-class America, the idea of freedom is natural. But tyranny, not being allowed to do something because of my religion or my skin color or where I was born, that doesn't make any sense. As the Harry Potter books go on, they get darker. Though there's still magic, you learn quickly that there are also those who will use it for more nefarious purposes. Lord Voldemort is what I consider to be the ultimate terrorist. He's power-hungry, hating muggles and muggle-borns for being different from himself, and he's willing to kill and torture anyone who gets in his way. Now, for a lot of people, having that evil of a character in a children's story seems like too much. But it's not really. The idea of there being evil in the world, someone who wishes to cause harm and spread hatred, it's approached through the Harry Potter series in a way that shows kids the danger of facing that darkness, but also lets them know that it is possible. Harry Potter is just a kid, we're all just kids, but these books let us feel like we have a chance to do something about the evil in our world. I remember reading the 6th Harry Potter book when it first came out, and it talked about Death Eaters going on a bridge and killing a bunch of innocent muggles. Maybe a day before on the news, there'd been a story about a suicide bomber walking on a subway and killing a bunch of innocent people. With the darkness in the Harry Potter books growing, I could see the parallel between his world and mine even more. The fighting, the tearing apart families, people going into battle and people being left behind to live without them. People turning away from the darker parts of the world because they didn't want to see it and they didn't want to acknowledge that it existed. There are characters in the Harry Potter series that do that too. At one point, Albus Dumbledore says, "It is important to fight, and to fight again, and to keep fighting. Because only then can evil be kept at bay, but never quite eradicated." It's not a particularly happy quote, but it's honest in a way that a lot of kids need to hear. Essentially, it's saying the only way things are going to get better is if we fight to make them that way. And what else can you hope for in a war? Love is the most important thing we as a people can fight for. It is in fact the only thing worth fighting for. The freedom to love and to be unafraid to love. Funnily enough, Harry Potter books prove that love will always triumph. Because no matter who wins the fight, love lives on inside of all of us, even if it only takes form in the lightning bolt star. Ask a fan of the book to describe how they feel about Harry Potter, and they're likely to tell you that the line reading